All right, so here we are again with him, and my last tape, hopefully the camera cooperates this time. My last tape, since I'm the one in front of and behind the camera all at the same time, my last video with him, my camera got a little goofy and missed half of it, but that's okay. I'll process that video too, even though it's only a partial video. But here today, yesterday we had another really bad windstorm. Didn't get a whole lot done. But I wanted to go over some of the next stuff that I'll be doing. First of all, with haltering, I always want to make sure that he brings his head down and over, that he cooperates with me when he's haltering, and he's pretty darn good about this stuff. He's kind of interested in the other horses that are in the other pen over there. Okay, so he's going to check back with them occasionally. Now, some of the stuff I'm going to do, he's a little bit of a jumpy kind of guy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start some flag work. I haven't done any flag work with him yet, so I don't know how good or bad he's going to be. I've had this flag sitting on the outside of the round pen several times while I was working him, so he's gotten to see it. But with the flag, or with anything actually, it's not about the flag. It's about getting them to operate their feet and keep their mind okay and processing and still able to think and stay with you through any situation. So it's not about the flag, it's not about the trailer, it's not about the tarp, it's not about the water, it's not about the jump. It's just getting them to start functioning correctly and again with you and not in a dangerous mode when other stuff is going on. So when you're using the flag, some of these horses, again, I have no idea what he's going to do, but some of them can, strike out at you pretty quick or something. So you want to really be careful what you're doing. I don't expect him to be doing too much of that, at least not right off the bat. So like if he was really particularly skitsy, which I've had some of them that, they're charging you, attacking you, you might not reach up and just pet one. But what I want him to be able to do is I'm going to introduce him to some of the groundwork, but I'm going to use my flag to do it so that it's with me. The flag's going to be bouncing around and doing all sorts of other stuff while I'm doing the groundwork, so that he's not focusing necessarily on the flag. If he reacts to the flag, I'll do something about it. If he doesn't react to the flag, I won't do anything about it. So first things first, again, I haven't done any of this other type of groundwork with him, just the lariat work. I'm going to ask him to follow this feel. Obviously, he doesn't know what I mean. I'm going to pick up my flag over here. I'm going to make a little bit of ruckus. Well, thank you. Very nice. Not what I'm asking for, though. I'm going to ask him to step off to my left. I'm going to drive that shoulder out and away from me. I'm not going to go chasing the hindquarters. If that's as far as he goes, I don't care. I wanted the departure. I wanted him to understand that I want him to go forward and around when I pick up and give this feel, and I want to drive his shoulder again. And after he kind of gets it, I'll show you what I mean by having to drive the shoulder and not the hip. There, he followed that around. And eventually I'm going to get my body and my cue, so to speak, my feel, less and less. To the point where you're going to hardly even see that I'm doing anything, but in the beginning here I'm going to kind of do other stuff. Now I'm going to kind of pick up this flag and just kind of move it around a little bit, but it has nothing to do with him. Now if he was having a huge problem with this flag, what I'd do is I'd change my approach and I'd have him kind of maybe follow it, for a while, just so that he could kind of, he's not having too big of a deal with it. But I might do something like this, keeping an eye on where he's at, and then I might turn around and kind of do this. I'm not going to get it right underneath his chin to start, because if I get it too underneath there and he strikes out at it, we could have some issues. But again, he's not having that big of a deal with it. He's just kind of worried about different stuff. He does get jumpy. So I'm going to kind of do this on the ground, and this is not directing at him. There's a difference on the flag if I'm asking him to do something off of this flag, or if the flag just happens to be moving around. Just like my braid back here is going to be blowing in the wind, it doesn't mean I'm talking to him. When you're walking and your lead rope's kind of wiggling a little bit because you're moving, doesn't mean you're talking to him, but they can They can figure out when you're actually asking them to do something and when you're not. Just like you know, my shirt might blow in the wind, doesn't mean it's asking me to do something. My reins might blow in the wind, doesn't mean I'm asking him to do something. Okay? So he's going to start learning the difference. There I'm asking to send off, and again, asking the shoulder. I stay relatively planted for the most part. Then I move this flag around. He's not sure what I want him to do. I'm not asking him to do anything. I just happen to have a fetish with flags. Okay. Ask him to follow that field forward and around. Now when I'm asking him to go, my body, if you can see, I kind of have a little bit of thought and some energy going on here, asking him to go forward and around. He always comes out my pinky, meaning whatever part of this rope, for most of the time, not all the time, that comes directly to him comes out my pinky. Okay? I don't do it this way because then I have, it's not as handy to handle your rope. Just like this. And I keep my rope, I want him light enough that I can just keep him over my thumb, keeping it nice and light. And if I need to, I can close my fingers. If I really need to, I can bear down. But for the most part, it's as light as I can possibly ask him to be. Okay. Now you got to be careful there. You don't get kicked. He's not having a problem with that, but just in case you do have an issue with a horse that does. Okay. So anyway, when I'm asking him to go, I want him to go forward. I have energy. I'm thinking about going forward. When I want him to stop, I just kind of freeze frame. I'm going to plant this hand, and he should stop moving. I don't necessarily want him into me. I'm going to ask him to back up there. Thank you much, son. Okay. Maybe I'll reach forward here with this flag and pet him. But I don't want him to think he always has to come into my space. Now, what I was talking about earlier, he's doing pretty okay. What I was talking about earlier is I want to drive this shoulder out and away from me, not the hindquarter. Because if I drive that hindquarter out and away from me, you see this little cartoon all the time. People are trying to lunge their horse, and they're driving that hindquarter, and either they're doing a do-si-do, or pretty soon that horse is just lunging me because I'm going to that hindquarter. No, I want to direct him forward and out. I want that shoulder out and away from me. Okay? And what I'm looking for eventually, hey guy, quit eating my saddle rack. What I'm looking for eventually is I want from the nose to the tail and everything in between, I want that the same bend. I do not want his haunches tipped out, his withers tipped out. I don't want them all cockeyed. Today's day one doing this. I don't know how much he's had done with it before. I'm not going to get too crazy picky on it. But one day I want it all the same. I don't want the butt sticking out. I don't want the butt sticking in. I don't want the shoulder falling out. I don't want the shoulder falling in. I don't want the head cockeyed towards me. When the head is cockeyed towards me, that throws that haunches out in a weird position. You can cause all sorts of damage to your horse. I'm going to think about this kind of coming up and under, and a straight bend. So you can have a bend in the horse, so to speak, because they're going around in a circle. You want them on a circle, but you don't want a multifaceted circle. Okay? You want him to have that straight line. So if there's a pencil coming out the tip of his nose, right out the middle of his mouth, and there was one coming out his belly and one coming out his tail, it should all draw the same line. Okay? Now again, I can have a saddle rack by the time I'm done. There he's kind of pushing on me there a little bit. I'm going to plant my hand, ask him to stop that front foot. If he doesn't, just going to interrupt that there. Now I want him to switch sides. I move. Okay? I direct him. I ask him to go that way, follow that feel, and I want this shoulder out and away from me. Out and away from me. I do not want to have him walk on top of me. I want him out and away. I do not back up. I couldn't do it that time, so I'm not sure, again, what all he knows, and I don't want to start messing with him too much. I'll show you here in a minute, though, probably. But I don't want to back up when I send him out and away from me, because then he's pushing me. Keep going, son. Now on this side, I'm going to move that flag around a little bit. Follow the feel. Now that flag's going to come in. Now that flag's just not asking him to do anything. It's just kind of going around like his mane and tail are flying in the wind. Same thing. My body language that says whether I'm asking him to do something with this flag or if I'm just messing with it. Okay. Now if he pulls on me, I'm not going to allow him to pull on me. Anytime I feel any pressure on him, I'm going to kind of bump him here. Thank you, son. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant my hand. I'm going to freeze. You should feel that. If he doesn't, I'll do something to kind of interrupt his thought there until he freezes that front foot. You can yield away from me right now. That's fine by me. We'll fix anything later. Follow this feel out and around. Now again, I'm going to take that shoulder and drive it out away from me. People always say my horse runs me over when I do this. Yep, because you pull him on top of you. And I'll try and show you that in a minute, but I just want him going forward and around, following this feel. I'm actively going. I'm actively stopping. And that's the key there. I'm actively stopping. If you'll see people do this, they go and then they go, okay, I'm going to stop my horse now. That horse has no idea that I stopped. Or they just do this. Okay? No. You don't just kind of fall asleep. You're actively going. You're actively stopping. Then he knows the difference. Just like when you're riding. You're actively riding or you're actively stopping. You're actively backing. You don't just sit there like a sack of potatoes, kicking them to go, pulling them to stop. It doesn't work that way. Okay. Now, ask him to drive the shoulder out and away from me. He took a step into me. I'm going to ask him to kind of step back. Step that shoulder out and away. Off we go. Again, be careful where the flag is. You'd be surprised how fast those feet can come out if they wanted to. Okay. Plant. Actively stop. He actively stops. You can fix your foot there, buddy. Get him to balance out there. There we go. I'll come up and I'll give him a pet. Okay, he's not doing too bad. Now, let me explain this to you real quick as long as he's not doing too bad. I'm going to stop here. Now, if I wanted to send him off, a lot of times people will kind of pull that horse back here, and then they kind of back off of that horse, and they're trying to get that horse to go forward, and they're doing this. Okay, and then, you know, they're like, why won't my horse to go out? My horse is running me over. You know, it's because you're pulling them on top of you. You're backing out of their space. Doesn't work that way. Sorry, son. Okay, right here. He goes out and away from me. Every time. Okay, so now we got the hind quarter kind of going there to where we can kind of plant that front, stop. The hind quarter yields out. Life is all right. Now I'm going to kind of come up here. See if I can pet him with this flag. I'm going to stay off to the side here. Make sure that I can go. Now you got to be careful when that flag hits the other side of him. He could get jumpy because all of a sudden it comes out of this eye, goes into that eye, and now he jumps all away from that flag and onto you. So you want to keep it on this side for the most part. I want to be able to check his legs under his belly. I want to outline my horse. I want to make sure there's no gutchy spots here with this flag. See, it kind of goes over top of him in there. Now I'll kind of get underneath here a little bit. Pet his ears. Now, again, I want to do the other side because I'm still working on stuff. I'm going to ask him to move. I'm not going to move. I'm going to ask him to move. Now I'm going to be out of your side a little bit, but that's all right. I want to pet my horse all over here. Both sides. Just because they're good on one side does not mean they are good on the other. Now, if you kind of paid attention there, you saw you got a little glitzy there just on that little section there. No big deal. Okay. Now, horse standing still is one thing. And again, we just did this to a degree. but I want the horse to be able to move while this flag is doing stuff, because things don't happen too often when you're standing still. If he gets a little too happy there, I'm going to just kind of shut him down a little bit. Now again, my flag's not asking him to do anything. I'm just kind of walking towards him, asking him to go forward with my left hand there. He kind of froze. Sometimes horses will get to the point where they'll just kind of freeze solid, and they'll take it standing still, but then, oh my gosh, you start moving their feet and the world comes apart. I'm going to plant that front, yield that hind, bring that front across. I'm going to just get a little bit more assertive with this flag and actually reach up and touch him, touch his butt, make some noise with it, ask him to keep going with it. Just get bigger with it in general. Every time he hits the end of my line, I'm not going to allow him to hit the end of my line. I'm going to close my hand and I'm going to bump him off of it. He must be soft. He may not drag me all over the place. We're kind of moving around here a little bit, but he's maintaining where I want. Switch my hands, plant that front, yield that hind, bring that front, kind of get all over him, get underneath his belly there a little bit, under his butt. So, again, he's doing all right. Not every horse is okay once they start moving. Sometimes this goes pretty bad. He gets a little sticky, but it's not horrible. All right. So that's actually okay enough with that for right now. I just want to make sure how he was going to react to this. I'm going to set this off to the side, and we're going to start teaching him about yielding to some pressure here a little bit. Guy. All right. Again, nice and light where my hand is. Just kind of handling this rope. What I don't want to do is I never want to grab underneath and like drag him along like this. That's kind of, oh, you see what that does? Kind of claustrophobic to him. Handle your lines really nice. Always soft. I always just want this coming nice and light. Out my pinky. Whatever goes to the horse comes out my pinky. Now I want to see if he's all right with the rope. I want to be able to stand here. My left hand's asking him to just kind of kick back. My right hand is swinging this rope. Over top. Again, I'm just checking these things. Now I'm going to get to a point where I don't hit the nose. I want to switch sides. Now I don't know if you can see it, but when you're operating this rope, get good at being able to push it through your fingers in different settings, different directions. So right there between my pinky and my fourth finger, and now it's between the middle two. Now it's after the first finger. Now it's just in the thumb and out the side of my hand. Be able to just kind of maneuver it around in your hand while you're doing this. When you swing a rope, for whatever reason, you know, you want to think about the up and allow the down. Swing the up, but allow the down. Okay? You don't push the down, because then you can start getting out of whack there a little bit. Okay, make sure he's okay overhead. Be doing stuff with him eventually, where he needs to be okay with stuff kind of going on him. I'm going to take this up, swing it over his back. Make sure he's all right with that. And after all that lariat work, he should be all right with this. He probably might have been okay with it before too. Now, when I put this rope over there, it's not hitting him hard, but I'm moving it kind of quickly. What you don't want to do is you don't want to go really soft and gentle all the time, and then, oh, son, oh, don't do that. Make it meaningful, because chances are something's going to happen and it's going to go. Now you can see that this is getting a little flip to it. So when I flip this up there, I kind of use my finger and my wrist and just kind of get a little flick and get it to roll. Okay? That way it lands softly on the other side, but it has a little bit of meaning, a little bit of sound, but it doesn't land hard. Around his hind feet, around his front feet, this side, over the neck, over the back, over the butt, behind the legs, behind the front. Happy donkeys. Now, while we're moving, Again, just because he can do it while we're standing still does not mean he can do it while we're moving. They will just, oops, standing on my line. See, he's a little bit more tentative about kind of walking forward while I'm doing this. So he might have seemed absolutely honky-dory perfect. Well, that's a nice park out there, son. While he was standing still. But now I want him to be able to operate his feet while I'm doing this. I'm going to keep him slightly off to my side in case he juts forward. I'm going to walk backwards, and I'm just going to keep doing the same thing. I want him to be able to walk while I'm doing this. Not get upset. I got to sneeze. Not get upset. Not stop. Not freeze. This is no different than if I had to drop my reins and pick him up again for some reason, or I had to get in my saddlebag and do something. Things are going to be moving while he's moving. Maybe your jacket's flapping or something in the wind, or you have a lariat on the side of your saddle. Okay, now he's kind of walking all right with that. I want to be able to put it around his legs at the same time. Again, I did the lariat work first, so this should be just happy as a clam. Touch his hind feet. Have it come up underneath and touch his belly there a little bit. He just has to be able to operate. Other side. Because when we ride our horse, we ride both sides of our horse. He's like, I don't think so. Come on, son. There you go. Attaboy. And again, you don't certainly have to do this in a round pen. I just do it in a round pen so I don't get out of... So I know where my camera is. But unless they're like a horse that's pulling away from me, most of the time I'll do this somewhere else too. Just if it's a horse that constantly is pulling away, that's learned to pull away, or is just really rank, I'll do it in the round pen so I'm not chasing them over 73 acres of just wire fencing. Because that sure don't work. I don't have time to do that. Okay, just moving this around until he gets a steady rhythm in his feet. Oops, got hung up. Under his belly, under his flank, back there. It's just moving. Now he has to move while I'm doing this. Be able to switch sides, go over top. Okay. Maybe I'll walk towards his butt there a little bit while I'm swinging it. Try not to hit him in the face while you're doing this, or in the butt. If you do, just pretend you didn't. Okay. So I'm just going to walk around back here, keep him moving. Until he's okay. You're all right, buddy. Wind's taking my rope. Sorry. Which is also why you want to be able to maneuver your fingers so that you can redirect that rope at a moment's notice if it starts going with the wind. A little bit touchier on this side. Not bad though, obviously. But a little touchier. I could make it bad if I wanted to, but I'm not going to do that because then I'd have to fix it. So when you see him having problems, you don't necessarily just go nuts and bonkers fixing it. Just relax and wait on them. They'll figure it out if you give them a chance to think about it. Pet him again. Now, got most of his hair off as I'm going throughout the last couple days. When I want to yield his hindquarters, but I want to do it off of the feel of my hand, which would eventually be my leg, even though I'm going to be down a little bit further, and that would technically be probably my heel or my calf. One day when you're riding, it comes from your ab first, and then your hip, your thigh, your calf, and then your heel. While I'm going down, asking for that hindquarter to yield around, I'm going to ask from my core first, and that should be ideally one day. All I got to do is tighten this left ab, and that's enough to ask him to yield his hindquarter around one day. It won't happen today. It certainly won't happen in the next 30 days that I'm going to have him. That just isn't going to be there. Chances are, unless he's extremely talented. I had one horse that got pretty darn good in those first 30 days. That was a long time ago. That was one out of hundreds. Hundreds and hundreds that got that good that quick. Just very talented. But anyway, what I want to be able to do is get him that wherever I apply some pressure, that he comes off of that as light as possible. You can see he feels all these flies, so there's no reason I have to be any heavier than that fly. I always use the analogy that I want him no heavier than a hummingbird. Still got to sneeze, I got something on my nose. I don't want him any heavier than a hummingbird. If any pressure that it would take me to move a hummingbird in the air is about as much pressure as it should take me to move him. So, when I'm doing this, come here, buddy boy. I'm going to do it just as if I'm riding. My left hand is going to be my rein. Okay, it's going to talk to this foot. Okay, and maybe occasionally the head, but I'm not going to use this to yield this hindquarter. That's not it. You want to be able to operate each part independently and together. So this hand talks to this front left foot. If he decides to go forward, I just kind of block him from going forward. If he steps that way, I block him from going that way. If he steps into me, I'm going to block him from going that way. If he moves it around too much, I might just pick it straight up to plant it. But unless I have to like set him off balance because it's just taken forever and a day's end to move this hindquarter, I do not want him eventually to rely on this rein to move that hindquarter. And you'll see it all the time. I can turn anybody's nose, throw them off balance, and get them to move their hindquarter like you just saw. I just started to move that front foot. Next, he's going to get prepared. He's all ready to move that hindquarter. That is not what I want. That is not how you get them soft and light. My hand is going to come right about in this area here, about where my leg would be. I'm going to do as light as possible, but I might have to get pretty darn firm. My belly button is going to walk a circle around that front foot. Okay? I'm going to look where I'm going. I'm going to kind of go through it. A lot of problems that people have is they kind of go right to this and they're just staring here and they're not going any further than my horse isn't going anywhere. You're not telling him to go anywhere. You want to actually project kind of where you want him to go. But my body has to walk a circle around that front foot. If I move too much or my belly button goes up front, I'm going to move that forehand eventually. Or here I'm going to move the middle. I want to aim my belly button right where my hand is going and walk a perfect circle around that foot. If my feet are crossing, then his are not. I want my feet to go forward and around in a circle, toe to heel. Thank you. Oh, you're showing him too. Toe to heel around that front foot. Okay? If he goes forward or does anything, in the beginning I'm going to be a little lenient on it. I'm going to help him. I'm not going to be lenient for very long though. But if he starts moving, the key is do not move with your horse. Unless you have to. I mean, he way outweighs me. Sometimes there's nothing I can do. I'm going to try and put him back into position without me constantly adjusting big. I might have to adjust a little bit here and there in the beginning, but I'm not going to make big adjustments and travel all over this whole round pen to try and get him to yield that hindquarter. He goes forward. I'm not going to do anything else until he's back where he is, but I'm also going to not stop asking for that hindquarter. So here we go. I'm going to plant this front left foot. That's all I'm going to do. My hand is open and it's free. Okay? Make sure he's kind of paying attention to me there. I'm going to apply very light pressure right back here, and I'm going to think about going forward. He has no clue what I'm talking about. Now I'm going to start digging my thumb in there a little bit. Still has no idea. Dig in there a little bit harder. Start tapping him a little bit with my hand. There he goes. He thought about that. That's all I wanted. I'm going to turn him so you can see what the heck I'm doing. Finish that foot. There we go. Want that foot somewhere where it's not too awkward for him. This hand talks to this front left foot. My belly button is pointed right back here. This hand stays right there. I don't lift up. I do not pull this rope over top of me. If I start pulling this rope and pull it that way, that's all I'm going to get. I'm going to pull my horse on top of me. Now you're complaining that your horse is on top of you again. Stop pulling your horse on top of you. Fix that foot there. Step him back. Plant this foot. Belly button towards this hindquarter. Left hand is loose. Start asking lightly. Annoy him a little bit more. Dig into his rib there. Annoy him a little bit more. Tap him until he takes a step. Thank you very much. If he is not operating off of body language and body proper, like that, you're going to have a hard time. These are lead changes. These are emergency stops, opening gates, leg yields. Everything comes from operating things independent and together. He should be able to, now you got to be careful here. If I start really digging in, sometimes some horses will get kind of pissy and they'll try and kick you. So be aware of that. We took a half a step again. I didn't have to whack him. I just dug in there. I stop and pet. I don't know what I was saying before that. Hang in there, son. If he wants to come look at me, that's all right. Plant my left hand. Ask with my right hand. Start digging in. There. Ideally, I want him to cross over and do a full circle. Right now, I'm just trying to make sure that he has some idea of what I'm asking him to do. Plant my left hand. Start pushing on my right hand. Thank you very much. Plant my left hand. Think about it with my right hand. There. Eating all his hair is blown in the wind here. Guy? I'm going to have to move that. Plant my left hand. Start pushing my right hand. Thank you very much. Now, horses learn awful darn fast. They get this a whole lot faster than the people do. I'm not going to ask for perfection today, but I'm going to ask for certainly a lot better than this. Start digging in there. Ask him to step out all the way over. Now I'm going to ask for a little bit bigger of a step, a little better of a step, a little bit more thought into it. Plant my left hand, ask nice and light, a little bit more pressure. Start annoying him. Ask for a little bit more. Okay. Now pretty soon you might have to adjust this left front foot here when I'm asking for that, and I'll allow that for now. Because eventually he won't get out of balance like this when I'm yielding this, but he just doesn't have any clue what I'm asking for. But right now in that position, he's going to have to move that front foot. I could move it first, but he'll just set it there. There we go, and ask for a 2. Scratch. Likes to look at you. Okay, left hand up, right hand back here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you very much. I'm going to do a lot of petting in this flank area and in this cinch area because I want them comfortable and relaxed there. Again here, left hand's planted. Got to fix that front left foot. That's all right. Move that here. That's not a very good thought there. Don't want him looking at me too much. Find. Thank you. Okay. Now I'm going to ask for the other side. I stay put. Because as often as I can, I want to be able to incorporate him following this feel. Stepping him out and away from me. Very good. I might readjust just for the camera. Normally I would have just stayed right there, but I'm going to readjust here a little bit. Flip this over here, because again, you can't do too much of it. Everything that you do, you find something that you can incorporate other stuff that he's already been working on, or just in general, you want to do as much as you can. Now, I don't want to walk around him all the time. I also use that follow the feel type of deal right there. Now this side, plant with my right hand now, right up to this foot. This hand just kind of pets a little bit. Ask very lightly. Ask a little bit more. A little harder. Thank you very much. There, he got a little jumpy on that side. You probably couldn't see it, but he's kind of flinching his skin a little bit. So you're aware of that. Got some lights on your back, buddy. Nice and easy. Plant. Ask for that yield. There, you saw he started preparing to move that foot in the middle of that too much. So then I just kind of jiggled it and kind of asked it to stand put. But again, my hand is open. I'm not asking him to yield with my hand. There are times where I might yield his hindquarter with my hand, but not right now. There, he got stuck. I'm not going to stop right there. Wait until he gives me a nice softness. There we go. I'm going to work a lot more on this over time. Just giving you guys kind of an idea. I want to be able to move the forehand now. A couple different ways to do it depending on my type of horse. If he's kind of a forward horse or a backward horse or a jumpy horse or whatever. But for the most part, my hand's going to be here again. I'm not holding real tight. This just operates the jaw area, the nose. Thank you. Got a bunch of hair. The nose area. This hand is back here. I'm going to be up here. Now I'm going to walk a circle around that hind foot. And again, this is just getting him to come off of my feel, come off of my pressure type of thing. So when I'm riding, that's what we do. I don't pull him everywhere. Kind of push him and kind of keep him in a corridor. So if he doesn't know how to follow that corridor, life doesn't go well. Now I'm going to step over there. Again, I don't want him looking at me. I want him looking in the direction where he's taking that front foot. He's not making too many mistakes, so I can't show you too much wrong. But I have plenty of videos on flying when horses weren't doing it very well. There he took a step forward. I just stopped it, but I don't stop there. There. He kind of wants to walk forward out of it. I just block him as fast as I can. I just block him from going forward. I don't go nuts. There we go. Now one day as he gets better, when we get into this and riding, and again, it probably won't happen in 30 days, but when he does that step out on that front end, ideally I kind of want him reaching first, not crossing first. So after today, I'm going to start kind of working on making sure that he's planted and reaching first and then crossing. Not just crossing and then reaching. I want him to prepare himself, lift, engage, and be able to step out and across. Today I just kind of want to give him the idea of this. Make sure he follows his feel, see what he does and doesn't know. Like right there, that foot should go forward and around. Now it should cross. Oops, there he went kind of there. If the horse is going too far forward or backwards, check your position. Sometimes people don't realize they're kind of asking for it back here, and then they keep sending their horse forward. Or they're way out here and they're holding this nose and they're pushing that across, and then he's going to keep stepping backwards. So you don't want to do much with this line. This line is just here in case something goes haywire, so you don't get hurt and that you can help your horse a little bit. Good job, buddy. Now again, I want to switch sides. I want him to follow my feel on that. I also practice it because that's here. Drive that forehand out and away from me. Flip this over there. Right hand's back here. Left hand is up on the jaw area. Not doing much, just guiding. Good. Now the best I can, especially when we start doing this in rhythm and he gets better at it, he's not too horrible. My right leg will be his right leg, my left leg will be his left leg. We get timing so that when I want to switch sides or do different things, it's right there. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Now I don't know if you saw it this time. I have the rein in this hand. You gotta be careful you don't pull back, but then every time he tried to take a step forward, all I did was do that with my thumb. And then I could prevent him from going forward and stepping out of that. So that's not too bad. I want to make sure he understands all this stuff very well before I get in the saddle and try and do it in the saddle, because if he doesn't understand it here, you know, back in when I was younger, I did a lot more on the back instead of, you know, doing it more on the ground, but it just kind of helps them a lot. They don't have to worry about balancing you. You don't have to worry about what they're going to do. You can kind of teach them all this kind of stuff before you're up there. And then it transfers pretty well. When I want to ask him to back up, I turn my hand upside down, I hold on to this knot, and I rotate my hand, thinking up and back. And again, my feet go with his. And I'm going to kind of ask for each step. Now there he's going back fairly okay, but what you don't feel is that he's pretty darn heavy actually on my left hand here. Even though he's going backwards, but he's not soft. There's nothing soft about it. I will be working on that. Again, I'm checking this out here. So what I mean by soft is I should have no resistance in this face when I ask for that, or through his body. Even though he's kind of moving his feet, he's not doing it through himself. And a lot of people make that mistake as well. They kind of get to where they're yielding the hindquarters, front quarters, backwards, sideways, whatever they're doing. And the horse is kind of doing it, but they're not doing it throughout their whole body. They're not doing it with their mind. They're not doing it, you know, using themselves. They're just kind of going through the motions. That's not it. That, you know, when things go wrong, you don't have anything to work with then, because they've never really truly done it. All that's been is a facade. So you don't want that facade. You want them to be able to do it from their mind, down through their feet. Their whole body should participate in this, and it should be soft. So just because he's going, he's not soft, which means if there's an emergency, you might not have brakes, basically. So I'm just going to kind of wiggle that there a little bit, kind of bump that off of him. You might get a little upset here. So he's like, well, I'm kind of doing it. But I want him to actually put forth effort into it and not just kind of drag. See, I'm kind of getting that resistance. So if there was an issue there, I'm just going to turn him here. Keep going around the circle. If there was an issue, I wouldn't have brakes right now. This is a horse without brakes. It's going backwards, but I have a whole lot of resistance on this halter here. So don't just look at their feet. Thought about it there. Even though he's going faster with his feet, he still is not soft. He's not responsive. He's only just moving his feet, but his mind and his body aren't all in there. It's just a facade, and people miss that, and then they don't have brakes, like I said. He's putting his head up. I just keep annoying him there, back and forth, back and forth. Annoy him, annoy him, annoy him. This is, remember when I was doing the lariat work with him, if you saw those other videos, how he kept wanting to go up? This is it right here. And I kind of knew I'd have this issue going backwards, because he's a kind of going up horse, so he's kind of pushing on me with his nose. So you can get him to rear up, flip over, start bucking on you, all sorts of stuff, because this is not in there. This is a little bit of a hole. It's just something I'm checking out. Don't you bite me. This is something I'm checking out. Making sure where all these holes are so I can fix them. And I'm not going to stop going here. You probably can't see it real well, but kind of my forearm sometimes hits that nose of his. He's kind of pushing on me there. Just not going to give up here until I get some sort of a softness, even if I have to change kind of what I'm doing, but I'm not going to stop. It's really heavy there. Just keeping my head out of the way. So my head's tilted. I'm not looking at anything. I'm just keeping it out of the way so he doesn't hit me. I'm going to keep going. This is where he's thinking about going up. So this is a pretty big hole right here. He's kind of learned to go backwards, but he hasn't learned to go backwards softly. Get this way a little bit. Don't let him jump on me. Don't let him jump on me. Block his face. I don't like to bump on him like this, but sometimes you just gotta annoy him enough. Keeping my leg out of the way of that front foot just in case. Blocking him. Blocking him. Blocking him. I don't know if you understand that right here, this horse, if you were riding him and he went to take off on you, there's not a dang thing you could do about it. He's not really good at yielding the hindquarters off of your body, and he's certainly not soft on his face. I'm not hitting him there with my right hand, I'm just using it as a leverage. Why don't you go to the gym, Val? Because I do this all day. How long is this going to take? As long as it takes. I hear my arm hitting his lip there occasionally. You'll see the difference when he gets it and he actually tries. Watch my feet there. Again, make sure that I give him leeway next to me there. He's thinking about it there. I can't just let him escape that. There he gets heavy again. Block him. Block him. Block him. Block him. Block him. So I'm making it uncomfortable for him to be pushing on this halter by just kind of bumping it. I'm not going to hurt him here. He's stuck in his feet. I thought about coming down, so I went with him. Pick this up again. There. Soft. There. That was a change. He kind of started to go with me. It's not that I just want his head down and in. It's not that. It's I want him soft. Whew. It's warm out here. So when I pick up on him, I want that kind of going nice and easy and smooth. It should just, it should just flow. Not just that he's doing this. That is not backing. Not in my book. And honestly, it shouldn't be in yours either. So those are the things that you got to look for on these guys. Making sure that they're not just doing the facade. It's not just an outer thing. They're not just yielding. They're not just dipping their head. They're not just, walking. How? How are they doing it? Are they doing it with you? Are they doing it for you? Are you doing it for them? Are you doing it with them? How is it working? I pick up. Got a little heavy there again. You should see when he actually starts using his whole body to back up and not just his feet, you'll watch all his muscles start to go. This guy has like very little muscle. He's been not using any of his muscle for a long time because he has none. So as I start doing this and start asking him to actually use his muscle and use his body and resist the tendency to just drag and actually apply himself, those muscles just naturally are just going to start filling in and bulking up because he'll be using them. Oh, buddy. Somebody might think, oh, he looks in shape or whatever because he's thin, but he has no top muscle, no back muscle, no stomach muscle, no neck muscle, no chest muscle, so I can't expect him to do a whole lot physically for me, but I can ask him to do mentally so that the physically can happen. It's better. But you can see when I ask for that, how that fills up in his back. Well, I don't know if you can see it back there, but because you're kind of far away on the camera. But you'll start seeing him actually use his muscles. Is it good? Is it where I want it? No. Is it better? Yes. Other side. Pick up. Don't lean on me, son. Let's take this. Heavy on me there. Heavy on me. Watch my feet. There. Better. You can see after he stops there how everything just kind of collapses back down again. one day he'll keep that up and he'll use his muscles all the time. I gotta fix these chest muscles, fix these back muscles, fix these muscles, fix the shoulder muscles. The neck muscles aren't there. So I'll be working on all that while I'm doing this, because I cannot expect him to carry me as a rider if you don't have the muscle to do it. Damage the horse and they'll get uncomfortable. You know, all sorts of things can go wrong if you don't have them physically prepared for what you're asking them to do first. They get uncomfortable, and some horses just don't like that. Some horses will take you no matter what. Other horses, if they're kind of uncomfortable like that, they'll just buck your butt off. They'll say, forget you, get off of me. It actually scares a horse. A lot of horses will actually get scared if they're not prepared for what you're asking them to do. If they don't have the physical or the mental ability to do what you're asking them to do, they'll get scared. You'll fry them. You'll break them down. You know, all sorts of things will happen. So take your time. Like I was saying yesterday on the video, you know, this usually is not in any way, shape, or form a 30-day process. This is usually at least 60 to 90 days. I'd spend just 30 days doing this kind of stuff and getting him physically and mentally prepared for this stuff before I'd even consider. You know, he's just not there. He's not in a physical or mental place to handle a rider yet. He might get there in the next couple weeks, I don't know. But it's not up to me, it's up to him. I'll give him all the options I can. Good boy. Alright. That's enough of that for today on that one. Do one more thing. Same thing you saw me do with the lariat. It's the first time I'm doing it with the halter. Now, I'm going to start this now. When I put this hand up, as if I'm putting something over his head, I don't want that head to go up, I want that head to go down. When I'm going to put reins over his head, when I'm going to put his halter on, no matter what I'm doing, when I go to lift up, that head should go down and he should help me. I should not need a step ladder to put my reins over my horse's head. So, when I put my hand up, I'm going to ask him to drop his head and stay there, relax. Then I can put it over there. One day he'll do it for me. Now I'm still going to be careful. He's been pretty darn good about it with the lariat. I'm going to be careful here. Put this over his butt and around his back. I want that hind quarter across. 1, 2. I want that hind quarter to stay placed, and I want that front end to come across. Same as I did with the lariat. Just now I have it just in the halter. Same thing over here. I put my hand up. He goes, I don't have a clue what you want. And I ask that to come down. Resisting me there. Wait. Attaboy. Bring this over and top. I'm not full on this yet. Okay. Now I kind of step out of the way. Wrong way. Hind quarter. Hind quarter. Stop the hind and move the front. Thank you very much. Don't crowd me. Good morning. I don't want horses to crowd me. When he has everything good, he can come in and I know he's going to be right where I want him to be. And it's not just that he's crowding me, then I'll come up and pet him. I don't care how sweet he is, unless he's like really having trouble, but even then I don't want him to crowd me, but I might let him kind of come in a little bit to help me. Okay? Visit this a little bit. Just over that foot. Pick up on it a little bit, and I should be able to pull this foot out. Want to catch up to me there? Out, and enough that he can take that second step. There we go. Good job. With that other foot there. Good boy. Okay, I'm going to do this foot. Just follow the feel, whatever it is. Nice and light. Pick up this foot. Step it out to the side. Wait for him. Eventually that'll get uncomfortable for him and he'll pick up that other foot. If not, I'll just kind of pick up that foot again. So you kind of pull it out a little bit further. A little bit. There we go. I'll help you cheat. Okay. Just make sure he's still good on that. I want to check out his ears. Get in his ears. I want to check out his eyes. I want to be able to get into his nostrils. Hello. Okay. I want to check his teeth. I haven't been in his mouth yet at all. I want to just be able to open up his mouth. Check his... Ooh, you got sharp teeth, buddy. Ow. You need your teeth done. Where do you need your teeth done? Okay, I want to reach in there. Wait on him. Maybe grab his tongue a little bit. Nice and easy. I'm not going to hurt him. I should be able to handle his tongue. You can put it back in now. See how bad those are. And there's some pretty darn good points on him. That won't help you ride much either there, buddy. Okay, so I have to be aware of that when I start putting the bit in his mouth. Before his owner does a whole lot of riding, he's going to want to get his teeth done for sure. Okay, now I'm just going to kind of go around here and just see if he'll follow the feel of this line while I'm kind of going around. Just kind of follow me. Pick that up, yield that, pick this up, send that out, yield there. Now what I do sometimes too is when people think I have an issue, I swear sometimes people are going to be looking at me from the freeway one day and somebody's going to call the Humane Society. I'm just going to jump a little bit because, you know, it happens. So while I'm doing this, I might just have an issue. And I just kind of startle him until one day that don't bug him anymore. You ever been walking, oh, you trip, you know, you fall, you don't want your horse taking off on you. You want him used to not getting excited about that kind of stuff. Maybe you step off the saddle and you kind of slip a little bit or something. Or, you know, maybe somebody's coming at you one day, or some little kid comes running out on the trail to go hug your horse. I've had that happen. You want them, that sudden movements like that, just don't interrupt his thought process so much. Again, it's not about desensitizing him to everything under the sun. It's getting them to keep thinking when things like that are happening. And to not worry about it. Probably can't see, but his nostrils are flaring a little bit more now. His breath kind of increased. You know, just because I didn't like that rock right there, so I wanted to, I don't know, practice my aim with my rope. So I just walk around, ask him to do follow feel. And trust me, one day he won't even recognize that. He'll know when it's meant to him and when it's not meant to him. If I want to shoot off of him someday, shoot my gun off of him, or behind him, or over him, or under him, or whatever I want to do, I don't want him to be startled with that sudden movement. Next couple days, I'll pull out other things like a bottle with rocks in it and stuff, brush him with that, and, you know, just have that set off occasionally. So you just do this enough. Wave to the neighbor. There we go. Better. So he's getting there. Again, go off of me, not on me. Off of me, not on me. Very good. I know. Life is horrible. You gotta get used to that kind of stuff there, buddy. This is gonna happen in life. Unfortunately, we're not in their world, they're in ours. Ask him one more time here. Pick up. Soft, 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 soft. Doesn't have to be fast. I don't want it to be fast. I want it to be through every fiber of his mental and physical working with me. So that's what I'll do for today. I'll stop this video. Just continue with this stuff and do this stuff for the next few days until it's good. And then I'll go on to the next step. One thing at a time. Don't go on to the next step until the first step is done. If you rush them, you just got to go back and do it anyway. Okay? Undo my knot. So just take your time. Make sure they learn it. Make sure they understand it. Okay, buddy. Head down and over again. Nice and easy. He's pretty good about this. He's a nice, gentle little boy. I leave him. So that's what it's all about. And we'll see you in a couple days, and I'll show you what we do next. Thank you very much.